So we've got a problem here. And it's with people going around, and it's not by any means the majority of Mexicans. Um, but I've never heard it from a Colombian, an Argentine, someone from Uruguay. Definitely not somebody from uh, southern Brazil. Uh, Maybe it might pop up among the Bolivianos. Never in Chile. Um, but I believe it comes out of the stupid cholo culture of Los Angeles. That it's not Mexican. It's not American. It's just it's a backwash. This is what caused the gangs, like in El Salvador at the schools of the Americas, is the culture of East LA was foreign to all Mexico, and the backwash came in, and it came in with the gangs and the war on drugs and all that garbage, and turned it into a nightmare, right? Even though it was a nightmare before for Roman Catholics, and the Mexican state actively suppresses the Cristeros. Please watch La Cristada, also known as For Greater Glory, um, or just look up Cristeros. But this thing called La Raza, La Raza is well, in Chicago, it's a street gang along with La Primera, and they get their asses kicked all the time because they use the Virgin of Guadalupe and the Mexican flag as their gang symbols, so they get their asses handed to them whenever, like, they get beat up by all the gangs. But I guess it's also a political movement with Chicanos or whatever, and they don't know what Latinos are. Here's a question for any of my Hispanic or Latino brethren out there. Someone who is 100% Mayan, who speaks no Spanish at all, are they Latino? Is a Navajo Indian Latino? Both answers are no. The people of the Chiapas, before they discovered oil underneath there, the Zapatistas were all hoax, by the way. They killed what? The leader, the guy that had smoked the pipe through that way or whatever. And they killed him, and the whole guerrilla movement died. That the IRA, the FARC, the ELN, this no guerrilla group operates like that. I mean, they killed Che Guevara, right? And did Cuba suddenly collapse? I'm not saying Cuba. I'm saying Cuba. Did the Angolan War, did that suddenly stop? I mean, it's just stupid. Um, the greatest threat to the indigenous people has been the mestizos. Okay, who cares? Um, Latinos come from central Italy. They moved to the Iberian Peninsula, which is the Hispanic Peninsula with Spain and Portugal, and they genocided out the Celts and the Basques. And that's where they lived. They were dark, olive-skinned people. And the first time they saw blonde hair and blue eyes is when they took a Germanic tribe known as the Alemanni captive. And those are what the ancient Romans looked like. Olive skin. You know, they looked like Jennifer Lopez, purely European. Salma Hayek, all of her blood is from the old world, no new world blood there. Shakira, same thing. Andy Garcia, same deal. John Leguizamo, same thing. Did I say Jennifer Lopez? Yeah. Um, but are people who have been blended, who have Native American blood and Latino blood, are they Latinos? Yes. All the mestizos are Latinos. Not to mention they not only have the ancestry that goes back to when their ancestors were Roman emperors, but they also have the culture, which is a Catholic culture, Catholic Mediterranean culture, and they speak the languages, which is Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish, right? And just look at a Southern Italian woman, right? And people get offended at this, that they're not pure blood Native Americans or whatever. Mestizos means, especially if you're from Mexico, it means two great warrior cultures, the Spanish and the Aztecs, clashed. And also the Mayans were in there. And out of that came the Mexican people, right? Modern day Mexico. It's too bad that from Benito Juarez all the way to President Calles, they were members of the Ku Klux Klan, and they tried to exterminate their own population, including the Indians or Native Americans, if you want to call them that, as well as the Roman Catholic Church, but that doesn't get taught down there. But this shit about La Raza, okay, if you want to talk about us as Latinos, fine, okay. But somebody like Debbie Nova, who's Jewish, who both her parents' last names are like Sheckelsteinberg, and if you want to include black people, no, or any of the Bolivianas or the indigenous people of Peru. I've met actual Mayan people from the Chiapas region in southern Mexico. They didn't speak Spanish, right? They speak their Spanish is very poor. I could communicate better with them in English than I could Spanish, and they refused to be called Mexican. They refused to be called Latino, and they refused to be called Hispanic. They preferred English because it was not the language of the colonizer; it was the language of the missionary. And now I'm somebody that thinks that all the missionaries should be kicked out of Latin America because it is a Catholic land. The Virgin of Guadalupe is extremely important to me. I mean, I got it on my shirt. She's right here. I've got, I don't know how many shirts I've got her portrait right here. And I'm not a Mexican. For Argentina. But also have, you know, the, show this. See her. But when the Virgin of Guadalupe spoke to San Juan Diego, the country, it was for everyone. She said, "Follow my son," and that's exactly what the Virgin Mary would say. She didn't endorse any doctrines or anything like that. But this bullshit about La Raza is shit. I remember dating a girl, and she was from Bolivia, but her mother was German, so she had blonde hair and blue eyes, even though she had the Native American Bolivian facial look. She was terrified because Evo Morales was talking about exterminating the whites. Now, when you talk about exterminating the whites in Latin America, Pitbull, think of all the singers. Think of all the singers and all the people on Telemundo and Univision. Jorge Ramos is a white man, 100% European blood. He would die. So this La Raza shit, you need to define your terms first, because yeah. Now people can say, "Hey, look, you're not what I'm half Irish. That's why I look like this." But do I deny my ancestry? Is half my family not Latino and Hispanic? Because you can be Latino and Hispanic. You can be Latino but not Hispanic, like Brazilians or Italians or Portuguese. But you cannot be Hispanic without being Latino. And then people try to confuse Latino with Latin American, which is just ridiculous. All right, peace to you. May God save Venezuela. It's not the Bolivar Republic, and the Bolivar Fuerte is the worst. Was the worst move they could have made. Fuck Maduro.